Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, Maggie is being the busy little red-headed bee. So, first she goes to, well, she's with Constantine and they run into Alex and Teresa. And Constantine's all like, oh, something, something, something. And I think he says something about, um, are y'all going ring shopping or something like that, right? And Alex just looks at him like, now what's this guy's problem, right? So Maggie's like, well, sometimes you just tend to get a little out of hand or whatever. They talk a little bit. Maggie's just like, so is there a particular reason why you're not at the office? And, Alex was like, hey, listen, I got my assistant, my VP or whatever, he's handling things. Maggie's just like, okay, it's cool. You know what? I guess somebody got to sit there and actually be making sure Titan runs smoothly. So I guess I got to get to work. And she walks off. And this is where Alex starts to just act like a straight up dick to Constantine. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hilarious because he talks about how he's gonna be moving back into the mansion. He's like, well, I'm gonna be sitting there taking up a certain wing of the house. I don't know if you're actually gonna be at that particular part, but and he pretty much says, and not so subtle, that most likely you're gonna probably have to find a new place to live. And Constantine's like, well, I'm pretty sure my wife has something to say about that. And he's like, yeah, I'm not really worried about that. So they talk a little bit more, and then, Alex leaves to go get Teresa, our president. And Constantine's like, yo, listen, you're going to have to sit there and step this up, right? You're gonna have to sit there and step this up. How's this going? Because I need to sit, bottom line, like, I need to get paid, okay? I need to get paid, like, yesterday. And Teresa's like, listen, I'm trying. Like, I'm already, practically worked my way back into his bed. Like, you got to give me some time or whatever. Now, at some point, Alex comes back, and, him and Teresa go to the apartment, gets to something nice and shiny. They wind up having loving in the afternoon. And then there's a point where Teresa she just comes on too strong, right? And she says some sort of line or whatever, and he just kind of like, oh, yeah. And she's like, oh, I was sitting there hoping you would say that I'm great and terrific or whatever. And, Alex is like, yeah, but I proved myself in my actions, not my words. And I'm pretty sure I proved myself today. Like with the gifts and the, well, So Teresa's like, yeah, that's true. And she decides to go into the shower. As she leaves, Alex cannot wait to get on the phone to try to talk to Kristen to try to set up next time they're gonna like meet and hang out and hook up and everything because he was literally just sitting in the bed and you can tell at this point he is so over this chick. He really is over this chick, right? And I said, you know what, I'm not even gonna sit there and say that. In all reality, I'm kind of surprised that he's actually still with her. I think he just feels sorry for her at this point. He doesn't want to sit there and break her heart because, let's be honest, I don't even know what he's doing at this point. Is he going to have Teresa moving with him in the mansion? Are they still doing this plan or whatever as far as getting him jealous? Like, what is his end game? Because I feel like at this point he's just over Teresa. And I think he might want to actually be with either Kristen or just, be the player or whatever. In all reality, I don't even feel bad for Teresa. I really don't feel bad for her because she's lying to this guy. She's lying to this guy, and when the truth comes out, he's going to be upset, and I don't want to say he's going to be broke, but well, he may actually have to sit there and pay for that stuff back. Who knows? Anyway, Maggie, before she goes to Titan, she goes to John and Marlena's. Then she's like, all right, I got a way to sit there and set this guy up. Embezzle some money, and it'll get him in jail and deported and everything like that. So eventually, she was up meeting Constantine, and it's like, I'm setting up this charity in Victor's name, and I want you to sit there and handle it and kind of do, distribute the funds the way that you would think that Victor would want those funds distributed. He's like, yes, sure, of course. I'm so happy that you would really entrusted me with this. And I'm just like, why are we doing this? I mean, we're okay. For soap opera purposes, yes, I understand why we're doing this. But in our reality, I feel like this is so irresponsible, right? Like, they all know. Like, the four of them know, including Steve, that Constantine plans on, once they get married, he plans on offing her, right? So there's a point before Maggie gets there, and John and Marlena are kind of worried because, Maggie's sitting there just giving away all this money and stuff. And like, this guy's already dangerous. We don't know what he's going to wind up doing to her. Like she's kicking a hornet's nest. And I'm just like, if you really felt like this, then why are we going through this whole, we got to sit there and get him, we got to set this guy up? No, you don't. All you really have to do is wait until his visa expires. And then he'll just be deported back to Greece. So, like, all this extra stuff that you're doing is really unnecessary that and you're putting this woman's life in danger. Which, by the way, when they sit there and say, oh, Constantine's already dangerous, I'm like, really? Really? I don't see danger from him, okay? I really don't. Um, Steve, Kayla, and Jada are hanging out. And they're talking about Clyde. They're talking about the book. She can't really give out too much information. She's just kind of giving them somewhat of an update on the case. Conversation's fine a little bit. It gets to a point where she talks about, because she's happy that she got divorced from Everett, but she's like, listen, I'm just worried about Stephanie and hopefully that he doesn't break her heart like he did me. And I'm like, bro, you need to sit there and stop. And I'm not trying to come at her too hard or anything like that. I'm just like, but you need to sit there and stop, though. Like, you were a great man. You're living together. You're happy. You finally got what you wanted. It's Stephanie's choice to sit there and make. If she wants to sit there and be boo with a fool, then she'll just learn the hard way. It's not like you didn't sit there and tell her, hey, listen, this is how this guy is. He did this to me. He'll do this to you. Let her find out the hard way. Now, this thing with Xander and Sarah, right? Okay. My issue with this whole scene, right? And it's not the lovey-dovey part or whatever, right? It's the fact that he asked her, well, first they play this weird scavenger game. And then, he brings out the baby or whatever. And I think it says something like, marry me or whatever, right? Okay. I'll be nice for a minute. It was pretty cute. Okay? But it kind of ends there, right? Because he gets on one knee and, he proposes to her. And she says no. And I'm just like, what? But she says no because, the ring is too expensive. And, he's like, hey, listen, I'd rather that money go towards her college fund, towards Victoria and stuff like that. But he convinces her, hey, listen, you're worth it, right? When you love somebody, you will literally sit there and go to the ends of the moons and back, right? So he convinces her after he does this long, drawn-out speech, declaring his love. She's like, okay, fine. Can you sit there and do it all over again? And I'm just like, this episode did not need to be 40 minutes, right? This episode really did not need to be 40 minutes long, right? And I felt like the bulk of that time was him just re-asking her to marry, like asking her for him to marry her again, but in a way where it's like, we still got 7 minutes, so we gotta try to find a way to draw this out. So it wasn't bad, right? But it's like I felt like they were just they're just trying to, you know, take it down to the clock at this point. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Teresa and her story. I really don't. But I want to sit there and ask y'all a question. Have y'all accepted her as new Teresa? See, I haven't really harped about this because I feel like it's just kind of pointless. It's like we're just kind of stuck with her at this point for reasons that I'm just being too lazy. But are y'all starting to like her? Or are y'all just like, yeah, y'all should just bring back on? That is the question that I got for y'all. Anyway, I feel like that's about it for the most part. If I forgot anything, let me know in the comment section below. This episode was okay. It could have been shorter. it really could have been shorter. If I have one super negative thing to sit there and say about it is that it could have been shorter. Okay, y'all could have dialed it down to like maybe 35 minutes, 34 minutes, give or take. I think the bulk of that time was more Sarah and Xander, but whatever. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I'll see you in the next video.